But like I've stood her up a few times, like twice. I'm like, yeah, we'll meet up, and then I'm like, like last minute when she's already like at a Starbucks, I'm like, I can't make it, and it's just one of those like social anxiety things. Like I'm not proud of it. It's just like I don't know if you can relate to that at all. Like for me, it's I can't get out of the car sometimes. Like I'll just show up and I'm in the car and I'm like, I can't get out. Like it's a very weird thing. I don't know if you can relate to that at all. It might just be someone who's fucked up that that has that. But I've just stood her up a few times and like I'm very big on like I know when I've strained a relationship and I'm like I don't deserve to even go for an ask. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with her. But I'll mend that fence. She's just too cool to not want to do something, I think.
Yeah, she's that kind of person that she's not going to say no to you, you know.
I hope so.
Especially, you know, she knows that you grind and all that, and she's well aware of what you do.
I could grind way harder.
And she knows that.
Yeah.
You know, that's why she'd be more than happy to come on. And
I hope so. I gotta make that happen. But without further ado, I mean, we're doing it. We're live. We got the video. We got the audio, man. I'm here with a good, dare I say, friend, Carlos Diaz, and it's so good to have you on the podcast, man. You came to my home studio, and that means a lot. I asked you, you know, I know you just got out of work, so talking about the grind, you know, was this an overnight thing?
No, it's a 4 a.m. till 12:30 thing.
I call that overnight.
Yeah, it used to be worse, but now it's...
I mean, that's brutal. So you coming out and then coming to do this, I mean, I greatly appreciate it, man. It does not go unnoticed. So thanks very much for being on the show.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. So you came locked and loaded. But before we get into what I know you want to get into, and I definitely want to hear it, let's just introduce you to the audience. How long have you been in Austin, and what do you do?
We've been in Austin. My family and we moved out here. It's going to be 5 years in October. But I have family in Dallas, my brother's been there almost his whole life. So, and I'm from Los Angeles.
I almost forgot that. Oh, no hate. You're not going to get any hate from me. I'm not one of those California guys. But you're from there, like born and bred?
Born in Los Angeles.
Wow.
I lived in the housing projects. What do you mean housing projects? It's, if you were to see that on the map, it's the projects and just metal factory, train tracks, and just water and power, and it's just people living in the middle of all that mess. Whoa. And then there's Chinatown and Dodger Stadium and City Hall and all that stuff. So when I say LA, yeah, it's LA. It's right in the middle.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. And so what brings you to Austin? That means you started your family over there.
Yeah. Well, my wife and I, we had been wanting to move out here since 2006. And mainly because our kids were a lot younger then, and we wanted to go somewhere where we felt, you know, the schools are better. Mm-hmm. I got information from my brother, and my wife did a lot of research, and she knew that Texas school district was better, and the points that the school systems had for the schools themselves were way higher than what we know of, and so we planned. But then the crash of 2008, I think.
Oh yeah.
That kind of, the housing crash kind of messed everything up and put everything on the back burner. So we just waited, and I was already at the mindset that, oh, it's not going to happen. So just stay and do whatever I can and make the most of it. And then it did. We were able to move, going on 5 years ago. And I was working, at that time I was working for Costco, so it was pretty easy for me to ask for a transfer. And it happened pretty quick. So once it happened quick, it was like, oh man, we gotta, our house was for sale. And so it sold, and then the transfer happened. It was just like boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, we're on the road and we're driving and we're heading, you know, here.
Whoa, so you drove over here.
Yeah.
U-Haul.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, all that.
And you have the one daughter? Or
I have
two.
No, my son, who's going to be 18.
Holy smokes.
On the 19th. And my daughter, she's going to be 14.
She's such a big girl. I remember when I first got here in 2016, she was little. And now I see that she's turning into like a young woman. It's like, what?
I know.
It's just scary, dude. And so you live with an 18-year-old?
Yeah.
Is that terrible?
No. He's really cool. You know, I've never... I kind of just watch him do his thing, you know, and the way he communicates with his friends and what he's into, and he knows, you know, growing up he's been in a bunch of little home movies and stuff that I put him in, so he knows the dad and filmmaker and all that stuff. I've never said, son, you know, one day I hope you, none of that. I didn't push it on him. our pastime is to go to the movie theater and catch a flick, but it came out of him. So I took him to see. There's always one movie I think that happens to all of us that we go and we watch it and it's like, oh man, I want to do something like that. And for him, it was mid '90s. So
really?
I took him to the Alamo and the draft
That's good.
house.
I think Jonah Hill would be proud of that.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, he was inspired to be a director, and that's his debut film. So I don't know what his first movie was, but it's cool. Like I call it the lightning bolt moment when it comes and it hits you.
Yeah.
What was yours? I still haven't seen mid '90s.
Oh, dude, it's great.
I need to watch it.
And it's 4x3.
Is it?
Yeah. No, but it's not like you'll get it. Why
I
it's
like
like
it.
that.
There was a movie I saw recently that was a very weird aspect ratio, but I liked it. Oh, it was Jennifer Kent's The Nightingale. I think it was 4x3 as well.
Really?
Yeah, it was very weird.
I think it works
You get
depending
used
on
to it.
Yeah, on what
It's
it
not a
is.
big deal.
No.
What was the one that hit you over the head?
Well, I think it was Superman 2
Really?
because that was my first movie theater experience.
Superman 2, that's with Zod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember it was in downtown LA, and it was like a real movie theater with a balcony and everything, and it smelled like pee, but it was packed. I remember that.
Oh, man. It's funny. We remember those details.
Yeah.
It's like going to the circus for the first time.
Yeah, I remember everything, the seats and the rips and all that stuff. And anywho, that was my first movie theater experience, but I didn't know. I just think that it just the music and the big S, and all that stuff. I was just like floored. And
How old were you?
oh man, well I saw it when it came out in the theater. So what?
80s.
Yeah, 8 or 9 or something like that.
That's insane. How many birthdays have you had?
I'm going on my 45th in August.
Dude, you look so young. I thought you were going to throw me like a 37.
No,
45?
I have an 18-year-old. Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool. That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
I mean, so what's interesting to me about that and why it excites me is I'm like a spoiled millennial, and I know it in terms of, digital filmmaking was just there, and so you got to play with it when it was like more tactile. Like you played with DV, but you probably, I wouldn't doubt it if you messed with an Avid or 16 or something.
No. I started using regular Super 8. No, I'm sorry. No.
Like a high 8.
High 8.
Yeah.
That was my sister's, and it was funny to to use it every time because I never had a permission. She never used it,
Yeah.
And I did the whole edit in camera.
Of course.
That was horrible. I did a little bit of VCR to VCR.
Oh, hell yeah.
Everybody does that.
Same.
Yeah. But it wasn't until because, I mean, come on, Hispanic and I'm in the projects, where am I going to get editing software or,
Of course,
or whatever, anything like that,
This is pre-internet as well.
Yeah. And so it was just like that, and get some friends and go do something, try to mimic something that I remember watching and try to recreate that on that kind of camera and just, and I would say when you guys pass that leaf, I'm going to cut right now, because I'm not going to say cut because then I can't take that out,
Yeah.
So it was like that. But yeah, and then it wasn't until
that reminds me of Robert Rodriguez and Bedhead and the way he did stuff.
Yeah. And and then I'm glad you brought that up because once I saw, it wasn't a mariachi that blew me away. It was more Desperado.
Yeah.
And then the whole behind the scenes and 10-minute film school.
Oh yeah.
That was like, oh my gosh, you can do that.
He's giving away secrets.
Oh yeah.
I've always loved that about him.
And free, right? It's like free film school.
That's right.
So that's kind of what did it. Rodriguez's stuff and his style, and I've always liked that. I remember, I was asked, what is it about Desperado that you liked it, and what it was, and maybe you might agree, but the way he would edit, for example, open up the guitar case, click, clack, it was all really fast, right?
Yeah.
But the first time I saw that I liked it was with Sam Raimi Evil Dead movies.
That's right.
He did that, and I liked it then. So when I saw it again, I was like, oh, I like that, But I remember
it's cool.
First seeing it, and then he's all with his metal hand and he's groovy,
Yeah,
that's cool. So I like Rodriguez because it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to help that these are like almost bilingual films. They're not foreign films. They're accessible. They're American. They're kind of like widely accepted in this country. Desperado, and you have Antonio Banderas, right? He's a badass. Like it's cool, like in a genre way as well. So I've always credited, in a weird way, like I think and I feel like this is sacrilege saying this, and I don't mean any disrespect. This might just be like an educational thing, but like I feel like Robert Rodriguez is simultaneously overrated but also underrated. Underrated insofar as like he introduced James Cameron to the avid. He introduced 3D to the masses before James Cameron. He what he did with the green screen, how he made comic book movies like with Sin City and everything. I mean, he's just pushed the medium forward. And I love him as a pioneer for that. And he doesn't get the credit that he deserves because maybe he doesn't have like these big box office smashes. I don't know what Alita did money-wise, but people are going to look back at that and be like, this motherfucker was ahead of the game again, right? And he's done that time and time and time and time again. But he's also overrated in that he's like a gateway filmmaker. That's how you get in. That's how you get into filmmaking. But I'm guilty of that too, because when I saw Once Upon a Time in Mexico, I was like, I want to do that. So it's like I want to be a contrarian and be like, is he really the rebel without a crew? Like, is it really that? But it's what it is. Like he is that pioneer that just woke up a lot of like sleeping giants in a lot of us filmmakers. And so it's almost cliche because I hear it all the time. Like Robert Rodriguez is that guy for a lot of people, and it's like, really? But it's what it is. Like he was that guy for me. He was that guy for you, for different generation, different films. So I'm happy I finally get that out there. It's weird to just want to say that, turn on a camera and be like, let me tell you about Robert Rodriguez. But also as a Hispanic as well, like, the ensemble that he'd get together. Oh, another small thing that I think he deserves credit for is resurrecting Mickey Rourke's career. That goes to Darren Aronofsky for The Wrestler. But it's like, I saw him in Once Upon a Time in Mexico and in Sin City as well. That's how I heard of him. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he's a pioneer, and he simultaneously doesn't get the credit he deserves, and he also gets too much credit for waking up filmmakers. But so what did you was film school like even an option for you back in the day? You're in Los Angeles where they make the movies.
Yeah, but let me just and I hope this doesn't come off as an excuse or however, but I grew up. Like the whole Hispanic family, the way we grew up, it was very typical. It was, what are you going to do after high school? What job are you going to get?
Of course.
And college was an option, of course, which I did do. But it was always, well, do this because your sister is doing it. Go work for this company because your sister works there and she's doing great.
Kind of like conservative, really, being safe.
Exactly. You play it safe, and right after high school, I went to Los Angeles Community College, and I started taking theater.
Really?
I had this acting bug in me, but I was always distracted by the behind the scenes stuff, and even then I hadn't really grasped the whole, well, you should be a filmmaker. It wasn't like that. And then at East Los Angeles College, again, I was in theater. But I just really liked the whole production thing. And people that would set up the lights and all that stuff. I liked all that stuff. But I also liked to perform, to act. At least I thought I did. Yeah. And then I realized I wasn't that good. I wasn't good at it at all, but I had fun. But it was little stepping stones that I think were kind of showing me a way that, give it a shot. It's not you, but try it, Yeah. And then finally when I was like, I actually heard a commercial for LA Film School, Of course, the internet was still very new. So I went online and I checked it out. So, that's not going to happen, the cost that it was. And then my wife says, why don't you just go to a community college, see if they offer that, which they did, of course. And that was it. I went. But before that, I already had, I think, some real inexpensive, cheap software to edit. And I was doing little things with it. As much as it would do, I was just pushing it, trying to do more stuff. So and then I finally went to film school, and it was cool, and it was a lot of like film. It was called Filmmaking A, and it was very technical. It was about the candlelight and all that stuff. And
beautiful! I'm a nerd for that.
I wasn't interested. I was like, let's shoot something.
Did you take like screenwriting courses?
I did not.
Interesting.
No, I did not.
So what did you walk away from that experience?
Structure.
Story structure.
Yeah, story structure. Setting up a shot, the whole rule of thirds and all that stuff, and don't cross the line unless it means, things like that. And how to use a camera, basically the stuff that they had at the time. That was my first taste of Final Cut Pro.
Wow.
But it was a really old version.
I believe it. Before 7, I'm sure.
Yeah. The professor was awesome, Mr. Jang. He was very, very stern, but he was funny. But if you sucked, he would let you know.
Was he jaded?
No, I just think that because he would say things like, I hope that I can work for you one day.
Oh, that's a great to hear.
Yeah, and that was cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool. So I had fun. That's where I met my friend. We're still friends now. His name is Miguel Ramirez. That guy, oh man, he saved me so many times because his editing skills were just, man, he just blew me away. So,
is he an After Effects guy?
He does a little bit of visual effects, but he just knows how to cut. Wow. I mean, for me, I see him as Walter Murch.
Beautiful,
like that.
Yeah,
he just has. Oh my gosh! So then when I finally made it to advanced filmmaking, it was like it's always a competition, and it's very cutthroat.
I know.
And I didn't like that.
I mean,
because it was all about. I thought we were a team, and
I know.
help each other do our work and whatnot. But so I was doing my project, and I had my friend who was my editor at that time. We'll just call him a friend, and we shot everything, and then he said, "Hey, come see how the progress." Okay, so I'm watching it, and then it just one cut to another cut, and I was like, "Wait a minute, what happened to everything in between?"
Yeah.
He said, well, "What are you talking about?" Well, where's this and where's this and where's that? You don't have that. I said, "What do you mean?" Yeah, we shot it,
Yeah.
And I remember I even said in detail, "Yeah, I remember you said this and you said this, and you could hear you in the background, and we laughed about it, ha ha ha, because it's on tape, Well, I don't know. So it was such it was a whole tape, gone, right? It was gone.
That hurts.
And I didn't have. I thought, I'm done, whatever. And I was just down. It was just. I just felt like somebody just. I don't know. It was. I felt insulted and hurt,
Of course.
And
these are growing pains when it comes to this whole thing. Yeah.
And
life lessons.
I tell Miguel, and hey, how's your project? And he's like, oh, it's going great. Everything's good. He says, man, I wish you would have been my DP. I said, well, they put you where they put you. And I said, hey, I don't have anything, man. My footage looks like crap. You can't. I can't figure it out. Oh, just give it to me. I'll see what I can do for you. And sends it back. I'm just like, no way. That's not the story that I wanted to tell, but it's a story.
Wow.
And it fit. The bad thing is that by that time, all the assignments were turned in, so I failed.
Oh, shit.
So I failed advanced filmmaking because of that.
Wow, that sucks, man.
But he saved me, and ever since that, he's been my go-to guy for advice on anything when it comes to a cut or a certain thing. That guy, he's fantastic, and I'm going to talk about him a little bit later.
Okay.
But as far as film school, that's what I did, and it was a lot of fun. It was a good experience networking and meeting the people, which I only stuck with one, which is Miguel.
Wow.
Because of that. The other people kind of went their own way, and the other guy, I don't know what happened.
If you don't mind me asking, did you have like debt when it comes to the school?
No, community college is cheap.
So this was community college in East LA?
No, this was
Film
no. I'm sorry. This was in Pasadena Community College.
Oh.
Otherwise known as PCC.
And back then it was probably even cheaper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but even then, because I graduated high school in '94, right?
Wow.
And I remember like a class per credit was $11.
Holy shit! Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Holy smokes!
It's between 11 and 13.
What has happened since then?
Yeah.
What has happened since then? Do you talk about to your kids about going to college?
Yeah, my son, as I said before, I haven't pushed him into do any kind of film stuff.
Or anything.
Yeah, I wanted him to watch and decide on his own what he wants to do, and it was like I said, we saw mid-90s, and it's wow, I want to do that, Dad. I've always wanted to do it, but I just wasn't sure. And now I'm sure, and I didn't want to tell you because I felt that you're gonna maybe come down on me and okay, read this book and do this and that, which I don't. But now he wants to. He applied to UT.
Wow.
And some other schools, but UT is like his main goal.
That's epic, man.
Yeah, I'd be so happy if he got in.
I hope he does. Let me know. Let us know. Update us. I hope nothing but the best.
Thanks.
My son's about 4 or 5 years away from crossing that bridge, and right now he's just like, I don't know if it's worth the debt. And it's a strange, since I didn't go to college, like it's a strange thing to want to convince him to go. I kind of want him to just find a thing. I don't care what the thing is. But at the same time, I don't want him to be the manager at a Baskin Robbins. I want him to want more, like increasingly in life, every couple of years to want more. I don't know why I want that. I just do. I feel like it will help him make this world a better place or something.
Right.
But with my daughter, who is 5 years old, in 13 years, she'll consider going to college.
Who should have her own podcast show, by the way.
You think so? She wants her own. She wants to be like a YouTuber right now, and it's like I give her one of my DSLRs, and I'm like, go nuts, don't drop it, but go nuts. And I never press record. I just like let her look at herself through the camera, and we'll see what she wants to do. I mean, everybody her age right now, this is all they know. We'll see about that. I don't want her to. I feel weird about that right now. It was weird enough putting her face out there on my channel, but at least I could kind of control that image. But I wonder what college is going to be when in 13 years, if it's even going to be. Like, I truly am curious about that. I have no idea, but something to think about. I wonder what filmmaking is going to be. There's a cynical side of me that's like, is it all going to be AI and bots that we create these cameras that are 360, and so in the edit these AIs know over the shoulder, cut to a wide, like. It's kind of scary. Like, I think humans might get cut out from there. I don't know, but it's something that it's maybe not future proof. I mean, from 1994 to now, like the industry has been flipped, turned upside down. So we don't know what it's going to be. What were you doing filmmaking wise before DSLRs? Because that's really when it became very accessible.
What was I using, or
sure, or like what were you doing or playing with, or like before you moved to Austin and everything, before the DSLR revolution, like how were you in filmmaking in that world?
I used to borrow a ginormous camcorder with the full VHS tape.
Oh yeah.
And my sister had a neighbor upstairs that she let me borrow it for minutes at a time, because I guess it was really expensive.
Yeah.
And I didn't do much with it, but that was the closest thing I had to something like that.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, wow, this looks really good on
Yeah.
TV. It just looked really, really clear. It didn't look like a movie.
Right.
It's like you see it and you're like, wow, it looks like a soap opera. But I was doing that. And even at one point I had this really good friend of mine, Frandy. His name was Frandy Franco. We used to make movies, and that was like our camera.
Yeah.
Just the hands.
Really?
And we'd talk about it.
Wow.
How was that shot? I think it would have been great. How'd this look? Oh, I think that would have been great.
Wow.
And that was it. We'd run around, or we'd talk and, say something like, okay, what are you going to do? Well, this is where I do this and do that. Okay. He says, when you get me like from my feet, and then just work your way up, kind of like Saturday Night Fever,
Yeah.
And there I am, like with my hands. I'm like, yeah, that would look really good, right?
That's
like,
so innocent.
yeah.
That's so innocent, man. That's like being in a garage band but playing air guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We'd write a lot, we'd write a lot. A lot of stuff that we wrote were bootleg stories that we'd read prior in a comic book.
Yeah.
or a movie, and it was just, well, we're going to change it from Superman to strong guy,
Of course.
But it was the same thing that we just read from a comic book or something.
Yeah.
Well, let's go out and film it. Well, there you go. Put your hands up,
Yeah.
That's how we did it.
And so what did you do to pass the time, like in filmmaking world?
As far as what?
I mean, one like a recurring theme that I find incredibly deep is paying your bills with art money. I feel like that's what aspiring filmmakers or creators or YouTubers or whatever the vernacular is today large in part is, well, I want to pay my bills with this shit. I want to be considered a professional. Do you consider yourself a professional, and when did that happen?
I think I'm a professional when it comes to my stuff. I think I'm a pro at what I do for me. If I shoot something for somebody else, that too, you know, because I'm thinking, okay, well, they either hired me or they trust me to do something. So for me, I take it serious, and for me, it's professional work. But as far as like paying the bills and things like that, I've always had a job.
Yeah.
I've always had a regular job that I knew would, number one, insurance, number two, be able to pay the bills.
Do you mean actual insurance?
Yeah.
Like healthcare?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of a big deal, especially when you got little ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't come to appreciate that until way later.
Yeah, so I really never had anything to do with, you know, like I paid the mortgage this month because I shot something.
Right.
No, it's never been like that. You know, I paid the mortgage because I work at a job, you know.
Yeah.
When I can, I'll shoot something for a client or something and, you know, make some money on the side for that. But I'll either use that because I need to pay off a bill or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Or to have some extra play cash or something.
Yeah, a little extra.
Have you ever done the filming a wedding thing?
I've done it twice.
How was it?
I've done it twice. The first one
Was practice, am I right?
Yeah. I had okay, look. I knew that if I needed a camera, I needed an actual good camera. And for me back then, I bought, when it came out, the DVX100B.
Ooh, I always wanted that.
Not the A, I still have it. So
that's epic.
Not the
it's
A,
a good prop
but
to
the
have
B.
lying around. It looks
Right,
nice.
Yeah. And my wife didn't like how I bought it. I had a little Honda Civic. That was my car.
Mm-hmm.
I sold it.
Yeah, this is like a rite of passage.
And so anywho, you know, I think I made a promise. Oh, I'm going to work.
How much was it at the time?
Oh, man. You know, I
Got to be like
that.
4K, 2800, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was, I got it at B&H, and my total, I still have the receipt. I think it was like $4,300.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
That's so
plus,
cool.
you know, your tapes and all that stuff.
Oh, my.
And anyway, so.
Good stuff was filmed on that.
Yeah, it was
Actual features.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
And it had it still has a very good image, especially if you go on squeeze mode and you just,
Right.
you know. So I shot a wedding for a friend of mine, and she knew, hey, you shoot stuff. Can you shoot my wedding? And it was a paid gig, and the planning it was fantastic. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna come in do this.
Wow.
But it was like a very strict Catholic church. So the day of the actual wedding,
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna do what I had planned.
Yeah.
And this man comes up, nope, you can't step there, that's holy. Can't stand there, that's holy.
I know. Oh, my
So,
God.
Well, where do I go? Stand over here. So the whole wedding is her way over there, and I just zoomed in as much as I could.
Yeah.
That was it.
Dang.
And then finally, when it was over, I ran behind and did the whole walk with them, you know, as they were walking out and they're throwing all the rice and stuff. And,
Of course.
you know. So that was the first time. Then maybe about a year or two later, I did a friend's wedding, which was way better, which, you know, much more. It looked like a wedding video.
Yeah.
You know? And but I don't like it. No, actually, I did 3. That one, and then I did another one for a friend, and then my other friend in Oxnard. It was by the beach. It was nice, but I don't enjoy it.
I know. It's incredibly frustrating that people think that, and I struggle with this to this day, and it really grinds my gears, is this whole idea that, oh, you're a video person, you know how to do everything. You know, you essentially do everything. The truth is, like, the way it's supposed to be is there's experts that are like your friend Miguel, who are editors. Like, that's what they do. And then there's grips, and then there's sound people that are designated for that, and so on. You have directors that just do that, you know, and tell you where to put the camera. And then you have actors, but like, everybody thinks that we just do everything. If you're going to be hired to do a commercial or a wedding, they expect you to be the drone operator, everything. And it's like, that's a weird expectation. And it's just, to me, it forces us to be a jack of all trades. We have to learn how to do everything, you know, and it's pretty frustrating. What the heck? Sorry, I thought my door was opening. Could be my dog. No, but it's very frustrating. So, you know, I've done some weddings, and I've learned to be very like, do you want me to do photos or do you want me to do video? Because I'm one person. Pick one. Or I've done video and they're like, wait a second. And I make like a feature film for them, a 90-minute, here's your wedding thing. And they're like, I want a 4-minute thing. And I'm like, well, this is technically better. Like, well, this is my fault. Essentially, it all falls on the filmmaker because we didn't set those expectations in the beginning. And so there's so many learning curves and things that like you have to learn. It's a trial by fire just through experience. And I feel like doing a wedding is par for the course. Like almost everybody's tried to do it. And in the beginning, there's all these filmmaker memes about like, oh, here's what I ate today with the exposure that y'all paid me with. Here's my refrigerator. It's an empty refrigerator picture of like with all the exposure I got. And it's at the same time, like we have to cut our teeth. And if we're spending money on expensive equipment and filmmaking is so fucking expensive, like we have to justify these purchases. And then we do it by doing free work. So it's hard to kind of pay that off that way, you know? I was just on a photo shoot with somebody who I'd love to have on this podcast. His name's Lester Platt, such an incredible photographer and photo editor. And I don't think I'm saying anything that I'd get in trouble for, but he told me that he purchased a Red, right? And let's say it was like $30K or something, $30,000. And he got a client and he did the math and he's like, well, if I want to pay this off in a year faster than what I financed it for, the payment's going to be $1,800 or something. So I got to get a client that I can get on a contract for 6 months. Hey, pay me $1,800 and here's what you get. And then in 6 months, if you like what we do, we can extend it for another 6 months. And basically a client paid for his Red. And I'm like, see, those are the kind of shorthands that you have to just, and he's your age, right? So like you have to kind of learn this in time. You have to, it's just experience. Like filmmaking, if I were to go to film school today, I feel like they would teach me how to make movies for 2004, not for today and not for tomorrow, you know? And so I can get on this big kick about where do we learn this stuff? And you could say Google, and I understand that, but quite frankly, it's all trial and error. It's a mistakist art form. I have to have the freedom to fuck up 100 times to learn what not to do. And it's a very expensive trade where, you know, I mean, I've put tens of thousands of dollars in projects that just never even saw the light of day. That hurts. And you can't take that back, but you can say you got an education out of it, you know? So, sorry, I'm rambling, but just thinking about weddings, like I've filmed some quinceañeras, man, and I'm like, never again. I'm not that guy. I've learned a lot in the past 15 years, and if I had something to share to kind of like condense it for people, a little soundbite is, as an artist, you have a responsibility to say no, and you have the power to say no. That's your greatest power as an artist, is to say, no, I don't want to do that. I spent too much time saying yes to everything.
You have to like it. You have to want to do it. You can't, you know, oh, I'll pay you this much. And it's a nice chunk of change. But, you know, what if you don't like it? What if you don't, you know, you're there the whole time and your heart's not in it?
It's not sustainable.
Then you're going to give them a crappy video, no matter what you have.
Unfortunately, I've been there. Did you ever do the film festival racket?
Recently.
How did it go? Are you still in the middle of it?
No, I submitted a short, and based on the category that I submitted for, I won.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That is awesome. The short film that I saw a trailer for?
No, this was, it's called Lest We Forget. It's a story, old veteran gentleman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I have never seen that one then.
Maybe not.
Okay. Dude, that is crazy. I've never won anything. Congratulations. That's so cool.
Thank you.
What, I mean, did they showcase it somewhere?
Yeah, it was at a Holiday Inn down by the airport. It's a really nice place.
Were you able to see it with the crowd?
Yeah.
What was that like?
That was really cool. And it's always awesome to see it on a big screen.
Hell yeah.
You know?
And feeling the vibes.
Yeah.
And the feedback, the psychic feedback in the middle of it.
Yeah, and then to see everybody else's work too. You know, you're like, wow, that's really cool.
Did you feel fulfilled in terms of, or were you like armchair quarterbacking yourself, like I should have did this, I should have did that? Or do you feel like ta-da?
I was fulfilled.
Hell yeah.
I was happy.
That's what it's all about.
And I brought my actor friend with me, and he's not an actor, but he was in it. He's 77 years old.
Really?
Yeah, he's a guy in the film.
That is awesome.
And yeah, for him, he was like at Disneyland. There's a red carpet and everything. And I told him.
That's what it's all about.
Because he says, "Hey, well, how do I dress? Just pretend you're going to church." I said, "I don't know." And he wore, his military hat and stuff to rep. And
is he a vet?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He's Vietnam and Desert Storm.
Holy smokes!
But check this out. He was Austin PD. And
he's one of these guys.
And he was the first firefighter in Leander.
He's a fucking legend.
Yeah, he's got a lot of history, man.
What's
his name?
To him. What's his name?
His name is William P. Kelly.
Okay, cool. Shout out to William P. Kelly.
And let me tell you what happened with this little film.
Yeah.
Now, he's ecstatic, so he tends to share it with anybody and anybody.
Awesome.
So he showed it to somebody that was the right person.
Is it available online?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll link it in the podcast notes.
And he ends up showing it to this one guy who works with the veterans or something like that. And they loved it, right? And it's great. And he did a good job. And, oh my gosh, Pat, what a story and blah, blah, blah. And I think there's a scene where he's walking down the stairs. So, of course, it's close up. And the stairs are pretty raggedy. Yeah. So the guy who saw it, I think they went over to his house and they wanted to meet him. And to make a long story short, they're giving him a new house. He has a mobile home, and it's rough.
Yeah.
So they're like, we're going to work with you, and we just, the history that you have and
wow.
and what you've done, you deserve something better. So they're going to bulldoze that thing and all that. And like he tells me, and he gets emotional, and he says, it's because of this film. And I said, what, I'm a Christian, right?
Of course.
So I said, it's God's timing. It took, eventually he knew, okay, Pat, I'm going to send this clown to do a little short with you so that you could eventually get a better place.
This clown.
To remind you that I got your back, So
Wow.
I tell him things like that. And he's very grateful. He's a very nice man. Very nice man to talk to, yeah.
Dude, you can't put a price on that.
No, the thing is that his wife fell because her steps were bad.
Oh, shit.
And she broke her femur, so she's in the hospital.
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So the cool thing is that hopefully when she gets out, she's going to walk into a new home.
Yes.
Which is fantastic.
That is so many blessings there.
Yeah.
Was that an original script?
Yeah.
Dude.
It was based on a conversation that we had.
Wow. These are my favorite kinds of ways to develop a story.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a subject who's kind of like this catalyst, this inspiration, and then you kind of reverse engineer it around them, and that's truly impactful, man. That's incredible. And when did you start making this movie? When did you wrap it? And when did it premiere?
It's a short film. It's about, 6 minutes maybe. And I actually canceled one time on him. And I guess veterans such as himself, after you maybe if you flick on him once, he's done with you,
Of course.
So he was like, we're not going to do this. So I called him up. I said, hey, can we do it today? I said, it's nice and cloudy. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Sure. But he was like, yeah, sure, whatever, Yeah. And I showed up, and he was like, oh, man, you're really here. And I said, yeah, let's do it real quick.
Oh, nice. Did you film it in a day?
Yeah.
This is my jam. Anything that's like low maintenance, you can knock it out in a day. How long did the edit take?
The edit, what took longer was just maybe coloring it a little bit.
Yeah.
But the edit was also in camera. So when you upload it, you kind of know already what direction you're going in.
It's a lot better when you're filming it yourself.
Yeah. So I think maybe I finished it within like 4 or 5 days, the whole thing.
Fuck yeah.
And then, thank goodness for YouTube and its free music library,
I need to explore that.
Yeah. It's not too bad. It's actually pretty good.
Okay. I need to do that because I love, it's a free hack.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You don't have to pay for anything.
Yeah. You can actually, it gives you the option, the music that it'll pop up and say, hey, this is an actual artist and blah, blah, blah.
Really?
Or you can choose the one that, none of that stuff.
I need to explore that. That's good. That's good to hear, man. Well, congratulations. And when did this come out?
This was last Christmas.
18.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it is so loud out there, man. Ugh. Anything that could go wrong will go wrong, and this is Murphy's Law when you're doing a podcast. So thanks everybody for bearing with me. Man, that's really cool. I've maybe done 2 short films in my life, which is weird because I did a feature film before I did a short film. I don't think that's normal, but I remember doing a short film. It was a 24-hour, what do they call those? Speed race?
Yeah, like the 48-hour.
It was a 24-hour film race.
Okay.
And we had never done it before. And so me and my friends, we were cocky, like in our hometown. We felt like, I know, maybe not then, but I felt like a big fish in a small pond. So I was like, let's lower ourselves and like do this simple peasant shit. And they gave us our obstructions. Like they were pretty weird. Like one of the obstructions was you need to have a line of dialogue that says, smell this. And you need to have a tortilla press. And we were like, okay. And as soon as I heard the obstruction, smell this, the first thing I thought of was like, okay, so the movie takes place like in this weird like sex dungeon, and you have like this gimp character like in Pulp Fiction who's like this person in a box, and it's like inexplicable, we're not going to explain this person, and maybe someone's just so petrified they pee themselves, and the person that's like torturing these people is like, smell this, you know, like, and so like the whole thing came just because of that one obstruction. And we filmed that, we did it, and we were so proud of it, you know. We filmed it was just all female cast, and it was so much fun. Like the scramble of like, oh shit, we spend 8 hours on this location, we can't use it now we have to do it on this location, and so it looks like shit or whatever. It was so much fun. Getting kicked out of places, a thunderstorm happens, great, now we're all soaked and we got to meet up, and it was just so much fun, and everybody was so game. Flash forward a week later, they do the whole competition, and so they screened the films. We're watching everybody's short films.
Did you do it in that time?
Yeah, we did it in
okay,
time.
yeah.
We turned it in on time. And, I was happy to say that I did the edit, and so it's on YouTube as well. It's called In Her Words, I believe. And I was so proud. I told my friend, I was like, dude, get ready, because like I hope you have an acceptance speech planned, because you're about to go. He was the director. I was like, you're about to go, and I hope you're ready for this, right? And so I'm there, and my wife, everybody, and we got no awards. We bombed so hard. The person that introduced our film, at the end of every film, he would cut a joke and be like, and that's why blueberries are not the way to go, right? Like he would make like a little tag on it and then segue to the next introduction. When it came to our film, after it finished, he was just like, and the next film, like he just was no-sold it, and I was just like, ouch. And even then, I mean, I thought we would get like a performance thing because our actresses were so good, and the way we implemented like the obstructions, they were like, no, it's dumb. And so I remember the day of this festival, which we'd never done before, and you have to pay to do it, you get nothing out of it. And I remember it landed on a Saturday that was our 10-year high school reunion. And so we ditched that, obviously. Mm-hmm. Who wants to do that? But at the same time, we felt like losers. We were losers. Instead of, I think our high school class went to the beach, and, there's like barbecues, and we're watching on Facebook what they're doing. Instead, we just like went back to my friend's apartment, and everybody just got hammered, and we were just like, woe is me. Yeah. And it was so humbling. Like I wouldn't change anything for the world, but it was like the first time I'd done a short film, and we just got destroyed. I mean, it was humbling. I mean, all we did was eat humble pie afterwards. Yeah. And we were just like, what did we do wrong? Like, were we too dark? And it turns out we were very dark, but we wouldn't have came up with that idea unless it was the obstruction, Like we also didn't know how to play the game. There's a way to, if you just want to hit the points and win, there's a way to do that. But we were just trying to do something outside our comfort zone. And it was so much fun, but I got to tell you, like it hurt so bad. Like I've never won anything. I've never been best director, best editor, best newcomer. Yeah. Like I've never won anything in my life.
So what'd you learn from that?
I learned essentially filmmaking is all about playing and having a good time. It ain't about awards. It's not about competition. We didn't go into it to win, to do like this sweep. It was just an awesome time to hang out with some friends. I called up some actresses that morning and was like, hey, I've always wanted to work with you. What are you doing today? Cool. We're coming up with this story. Come to this coffee house and we're going to develop it together. Like all that was fun. Like if you're not having fun, why are you doing it? That's what I got out of it, because we lost money, we were rejected, embarrassed in public, like no sold in front of our peers, like 18-year-old filmmakers were looking at us like, the fuck is wrong with you guys? And But I wouldn't change a thing. Like, I had a fun time. And I've also made movies where I just want the day to be over. I'm like, I don't even want to do this. I'm out. You know, I'm divorced from this subject matter, and I want to flash forward years from now where I don't have to remember this. And if you're not having fun doing it, why are you doing it? It's a waste of time. Do you have any nightmare stories in the filmmaking world?
Yes. Well, yes. But I mean, like, actual nightmares.
Okay.
Like I can't sleep because of what I think we didn't do.
Tell me about that.
Well, they actually go back to film school. You know, and it's funny because I had a little bit of that because I had seen that attitude of, you know, I can do this, and that's nothing. What challenge? What, you know?
Yes.
And then
I could be a cocky prick sometimes. I'll tell you, I can, but it's in jest, not at the expense of anybody else.
well, and then
But I've been that prick.
is it cockiness or is it confidence?
It might just be oblivious ignorance. I mean, I don't know. Like, it might just be dumbassness.
Right.
It's just like every now and then you can get into. I feel like this is a cop out, but like just like fake bravado, like almost like in a Will Ferrell-esque kind of like, I'm so confident, but deep down inside I'm dying. You know.
Yeah.
But I've been that prick in real life where I totally believe I drink my own Kool-Aid as well.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm sorry if pricks like me have incepted your brain.
No. I think I don't know. I think everybody at one point becomes like that, and I think it's normal. I think it's healthy.
Yeah.
Because what if you're so? I'll use the word cocky. What if you're so cocky, but your work is that good, right? Or what if you're so cocky, and your work is extremely mediocre, and then you have like what you had, that reality check.
Oh yeah.
You learn from both.
You
know?
can, yeah.
And I mean that's how I see it. But to answer your question, yes, I remember there were times when it was late, you know, and these are student group projects, and I remember, okay, in film school, they teach you. They don't teach you when it's time to go out there with a group and do a project. Everybody behaves, especially in California. They behave. From what I think what they're trying to do is, shoots are 12 hours long, so we're going to be here for 12 hours. But the film's like 5 minutes long. You know.
So you're saying like it's not efficient in that way, or?
No. I think that they.
What do you mean?
Okay, we have everything. Like, the school provides everything. You know.
Yeah.
So this kid's a grip, and this guy's gonna do this, and this guy's here's your boom guy, and all that stuff. And when it's time to shoot, they shoot. They do a scene. They cut, and then I remember that we're gonna change this up, and it was like an hour and a half, and I'm in there, you know, and I'm just like waiting, and I think I was just holding like a reflector during that time.
Been there.
Yeah, and they're taking forever, and I asked, and I remember I asked, hey, what's taking so long? Well, that's how they do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it was
Oof.
very.
Drives me crazy too.
I felt like, that's like, you sound like a little kid.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, just take the shot. Do you have
Yeah.
it? Are you happy? Move on.
I agree.
You know, and
yes.
And so the nightmares, the kind of nightmares I had, I'd go home and I'd fall asleep and I'm dreaming that I'm still there.
Yep.
And I'd wake up tired, you know, and then I'd wake up and it'd be like, oh my gosh, I woke up, it's just a dream, and I'd go back to bed, and then I'm the same dream.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
And it was that exhausting kind of nightmares and things like that. But later on, when we started to do like our final projects, then I would have nightmares of it didn't work, or something stupid like nobody brought a camera, you know, dreams like that, you know. Very stressful kind of dreams like that. So those are my kind of experiences and dreams.
I want to talk about this one day. It's difficult because nobody cares, but also it's something I would get a lot of flack for. In 2014, I made a movie called The Seven Hands of God, and the only existence of the material is the trailer. You can find the trailer on YouTube. And I was going to film it with some friends. I was going to film it on a Windows phone. Had the script, and I wrote the script in 6 days. And I was like, it was going to be my follow-up to, it was my second feature. And, you know, I was like, this is going to be fun, you know? And I got seduced to spend a lot of money and to invest in like these producers had like, here I am and I'm talking about it. I'm trying not to talk about it, but they had a red Scarlett camera and it was 2014, so this was still kind of like newish. And we made a movie, and I don't want to get here I am not trying to get into it, but needless to say, like, I don't have a copy of this movie, and I haven't seen the movie since it premiered, which was May 2014. And here we are 6 years later, and it was such a painful experience. Oh, this is going to sound melodramatic, and I'll take the heat for this, but this is how it felt. This is just how it felt. Like, it felt like a miscarriage of a project. It just was a disaster, even though it was completed. Actors were paid, and we flew actors in from California, Chicago, New Orleans, you know, and I handpicked all these actors, and it was an ensemble piece, and I just don't, it's like I didn't make a movie, you know? It's like it never came to full term because the producers, we got into a fight, like a screaming match about it. And I wish if I could go back, I would change so many things. And I want to, you know, really do a deep dive about that entire process one day. It's weird because people get all in their, you better lawyer up kind of bullshit. And so I've always been like, whatever about that. And you can't really bully me or intimidate me in that way. But I mean, I didn't set out to make a movie that would never be seen. I set out to make a movie that hopefully thousands of people can watch it. And it was in the superhero genre at the time, and I was proud of the story and what we captured in camera. And I got to tell you, like, that experience was so painful, so trying. All you can really do is like endure it. And I've learned a lot from that experience. Most importantly, like, who you work with is more important than really what you're working for and what you're working towards. Have you ever been a part of a financial disaster in that way?
Well, yes and no. To the extent of a lot of money, no. Some money, yes. I know what you mean. And let me give you this example of how I think that must have felt like. Because this happened to me when my son was very little. He was maybe 4 or 5. And I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what I was so distracted with. But he had a box of Hot Wheels. And every time I look back, and it's funny because that memory always comes back when I'm stressing out about something. This memory comes back.
Interesting.
And when you were telling me that, the memory came right back.
Yeah.
So my son brings this case of Hot Wheels. Dad, you want to play with me? Dad, you want to play with me? And I remember just saying, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just like that. I don't want to. And his face, you know, his face just kind of just dropped.
Yeah.
And I remember him looking down, grabs a little thing of Hot Wheels, and walks away. And the moment his little head goes around the door, it just hit me like, oh, what the hell did I just do?
Yeah.
Why did I do that? You know?
Yeah.
So now that always haunts me.
How many times have you apologized to your son for that?
I think he's gonna hear about it this
Forever?
time.
Oh,
Yeah,
barely?
just right now. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
really?
I've told him that
it really hurt you?
Yeah, I mean, he knows. I've brought it up. I'm
For
sure.
what it's worth, that means you're a really good dad, that it bothered you that much.
So now I look back and I'm thinking, this big galoot, you know, I wish he'd asked me to play with him now, you know. But so we were on a set and we were shooting this film, and it was a boxing sparring match, and it was a long day. I was really tired, and I'm sure that when you get tired, you get a little grumpy. And in this one particular project, everything was mine. Okay, the camera, the lighting, everything, audio, everything was mine. It's not a problem. I'm in my element. I love it. We're building and we're telling a story. We're working together. I love it. But when you don't respect my things, and that's a whole other thing, right? And unfortunately, the guy holding the boom got too close to the fighters.
Ooh.
I've never seen this before happen, but they punched my Rode mic and it broke in half.
Whoa.
It was like hanging with wires and just dangling.
Were you working with Jackie Chan?
Oh, no.
Wow.
And I remember
That sucks.
and I was already tired, and I liked the project that we were doing. It was that project to me just felt really indie, just felt really good. It felt like this is a cool story, you know. Yeah. And I saw that happen and I got upset. And I didn't yell or anything, but I was really pissed, And I'm just like, And the part that kind of stressed me out is that it seemed like nobody cared.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, oh well,
Right.
that's the price you pay for, and I'm just like, nah, come on.
Yeah. If how should that have gone for you? That it would still suck, but it would taste better going down. How should that have gone, do you think?
Well, because
what should the reaction have been or the consequence?
Well, I'll tell you, because I'll tell you what I'm used to, what I've done, what I've participated in.
Yeah.
Is, hey, how much was that thing?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my portion of it. Well, this is what I have that I can give.
Yeah.
And I've done that,
I see.
Because I broke something one time myself,
Yeah.
This is in California. But anywho, and everybody chipped in.
Yeah.
Because they said, well, we're all in it together.
Right.
This is our project. So let's, so-and-so brought his own airy light, and we should kind of pay for that.
Right.
And that's what happened. But in this case, they kind of tried, but this one actor who was playing the boxing coach, he said, here's my card.
Really?
Go on B&H and go get another one right now.
Wow.
So on that very second, okay, so I ordered another one. And the plan was, okay, well, he's taking care of you, so let's take care of him now.
Of course.
And it didn't go that smooth, and I felt like, well, that kind of sucked. And it was it left a bad taste in my mouth, because I felt, I know it's an accident, but at least try to pretend you're gonna take care of this, or that you care.
Some sort of gesture.
And I'm not saying that they weren't like that. I guess I was just used to or expecting something else.
Yeah.
And that's my experience. That's what happened during that time. So
that's a bummer. These things happen, man, and the etiquette, the gentleman's code or whatever, like sometimes it's not always honored. But those people, not to make excuses for them, like just haven't had the experience, And we work with a lot of first timers and amateurs and things like that, and so that's part of the game, unfortunately. And man, now you got me thinking, like, have I done that to somebody? And I probably have, and so definitely feel like shit about it though if I have and I didn't pay them back or something. I can't think of something, but certainly I'm fucking sure. So here you are. It's a new decade. It's 2020. You've been in Austin for a minute now. You got some accolades and short films under your belt that you're proud of, that's so cool. What does the future look like, and what are you into right now? Well,
first of all, I love living where I live now.
Awesome.
I love Austin. It's been great. The networking that I kind of did in California, in Los Angeles, it doesn't compare. Yes, it's cutthroat here too, but not like that. Not what I know,
I bet.
Here, everybody has been great. What are you doing? What do you need? What can I help you with? I know this guy. I know that guy. I know this gal. It's been wonderful. The first short film that I did when we were settled in and everything, I put in a casting thing, and I met these great people that came out and they auditioned for me, and we made a little short, and we're still friends now.
That's awesome.
Which I like that. What I haven't experienced is that attitude, like there's a lot of like diva type attitude
Yeah.
where I come from. A lot.
Where you come from?
Yeah.
In Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's like we're all Hollywood Junior out here.
and it got to the point where, you know, I would meet somebody and and the first thing they would ask is, what was that? And I hate the question. Is this SAG?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
it's not.
Right.
And oh, it's not. Yeah, that's what the ad says. It's, you know, it's
Right.
not. You know,
Mhm.
and it's like, it's garbage work if it's not,
Right.
or something like that.
Mhm.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Okay, fine. You know, thank you. You know, I haven't experienced nothing like that here. You know,
Right. Same.
There's been a little bit of diva-ish, but you know, I let it go because I'm just like, well, it's kind of funny, so
Of course.
it's cool. You
Yeah.
know, but my experience here has been fantastic when it comes to networking and meeting people and things like that, and the support.
Which you're really good at that, by the way. I mean, you discovered me. Yeah.
Look, man, I saw you on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, who's this guy? You know.
Yeah.
So, but I was drawn to you because of your energy, you know, and how vocal you are of yourself.
Yeah.
And at first I thought,
It's so embarrassing.
who
the fuck is this guy?
no, I didn't. I was like, well, he's pretty brave, you know. But
this goes back to the ignorance thing again. I don't know any better.
But I saw it as, well, he's got brave for a reason. Let me see who he is, you know. And I remember your post that you were looking for Metallica of filmmakers. I remember that post.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember you said, I think you said Round Rock filmmakers. I think maybe.
Yeah, probably.
And I was like, well, I'm Leandro. I don't think I count. You know, so I didn't respond to it.
Yeah.
But I was intrigued by you and by your energy and stuff. And then when you started vlogging daily, that was really cool. And then your pictures and all the notes and all the writing that you did, I was like, damn, this guy's really.
You're buttering my muffin, man.
No, I'm just, you know, telling you what I saw and what, like I said, what drew me to you. And then this is a good way to segue into the other thing.
Yeah.
Like your hat.
Yeah, I like your hat, by the way.
And thanks. I've always wanted to do something where, because I've done it before prior to this. I think I reached out to you and I just emailed you. I just gave you a bunch of stuff.
I remember that.
Right?
It really inspired me, in fact.
And I was like, this guy's working hard. He's doing a lot. I wonder if he has this stuff. Well, if he does or he doesn't, you know. And I think I said, if you have them, pass them on. You know.
That's right.
And I did it because I saw you working hard. I saw you grinding. I saw you, you know, the way. And honestly, no one has ever done that for me. Yeah, and I wish that there would have been times, because I remember stressing out over certain things like, oh, well, that kid got something because daddy paid for it or whatever. You know?
Of course.
Stupid things like that, you know. But I've always been like that, where if I see somebody like yourself or like Miguel or something, it's like, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
You know, how can I take you here? You're here. How can I take you here? You know.
Right.
So I gave you that stuff, and it wasn't like, it was never ever.
There was no quid pro quo.
Yeah, it's like, who gave them to you? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The point is that it's for you, and I hope you use them in a fantastic way.
Right.
So that has been my thing, to support local filmmakers, right?
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, well, I'd like to start something, whether it's a hat or a shirt, right? Support your local filmmakers. And what that is I see it as, it's a networking apparel. And
I like that.
You wear it, and just like you wear a Beatles shirt, some stranger is going to come up to you who loves the Beatles and say, nice shirt.
That's right.
And a conversation starts, right?
That's right.
There's a lot of people who have the gift of gab, such as yourself.
That's right.
Who don't need to wear a shirt like that. But just people that are super talented like yourself. And there's people that are super talented but are very reclusive, and you don't know.
Yeah.
You know? And for me, that hat and that shirt is for you, so that put it on and see what happens. Yeah. Put it on and see who you talk to. Wear it, and you'll see how you'll network. And I wore it when I first got it, and I'm like, well, let me see what happens. And I got a gig to shoot a barbershop, you know, a commercial.
That is awesome.
Because a guy saw it and he's like, hey, cool shirt. You're a filmmaker? And I said, yeah. Oh, I just opened up a barbershop. I'm looking to do some commercial for social media. All right.
That's what it's about.
And it worked, right? So I'm
Yeah.
thinking, okay, it works. It works.
Yeah.
So designed the whole thing, the hat, the shirt, and
So slick.
supportlocalfilmmakers.com
That's right.
is the site. But what we do is, it's not just that. We interview.
Uh-huh.
And so far, I haven't interviewed anyone.
Yeah.
You guys,
Yeah.
I send you questions,
Mm-hmm.
and then you guys answer them.
Yeah,
And
that's
you
a
send-
cool
you
way to
send-
do
and
it,
you send
though.
back. Because I think if you answer them in your own element,
Yeah.
you're gonna be yourself,
Yeah.
and you can be creative with your edit and how and your background and all that stuff, which I think it's cool.
Yeah. It totally is.
There's a filmmaker I like a lot. I did the same thing with him. His name is Terrell Christie. That he does amazing work. He's wrapping up a fan film. It's called Miles. It's a Spider-Man fan film.
Ooh.
And his work is really good, right? So I met him maybe a little bit before before I got here, or when I was already here, and he commented on a short film I did, and so I replied thanks, and then I just clicked on him, and I was like, hey, he does good stuff too, and then I saw that he was grinding. Every other week was another short and another short. I'm thinking, damn, this kid, he's just keeps bringing them out.
Yeah.
And then he would also review movies and whatnot. And then one day he releases a short film called Follow You, I think it's called.
Mm.
And I'm watching it, and I'm just like, holy crap, this thing's amazing. This is so cinematic. What a awesome short. But prior to that, I did the thing that I did with you. I reached out. Excuse me. And fortunately, I think it was right after Black Friday, so I was able to get a bunch of cool stuff. I just forwarded it to him, and I said, "Hey, man, I hope that you get these gifts, and I hope you can use them, and enhance your work and keep doing what you're doing."
That's awesome.
And he was super grateful, and everything, and then I watched Follow You, and I didn't notice, but he says, "Hey, those explosions and all that's because of you, so it's fire assets or whatever it was."
Hell yeah.
And I was like, "Cool, man, awesome." And then he gave me a little credit or shout out or something. It's fine. I didn't do it for that, but it was just like, because he's like that, he grinds so much,
That's right.
And it's like, well, why not? Why not toss him a bone, as he say, and I just think his work keeps getting better and better. And he did another film, The Spaceman. It's amazing what he does. And
Wow.
and I love that he'll show afterwards how he did it,
Yeah.
Then you watch it and you're like, oh man, wow.
This guy's from Austin?
No, he lives in Iowa. I believe it's Iowa.
That's cool.
Iowa? Cedar Falls, Iowa?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And he had a buddy. They were both. It's his YouTube channel is Lost Utopia Films, and him and his friend. Gosh, what's his friend's name? His friend ended up going to Frisco, and he's a photographer. He does really good portraits and pictures and landscape stuff. He's really good. But together they used to create these shorts. But he's the one who stayed with Lost Utopia Films and does his projects and stuff. But I like to do that, and I want support local filmmakers, that brand to be about that. I want somebody to wear the hat, not because I got it online, but because it means something.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, it's the S.
Mm-hmm.
It's in that little symbol thing.
Filmmakers.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
because as we mentioned, Rodriguez, there's a rebel without a crew,
Yeah.
and then there's rebels with crews.
That's right.
So it applies to that. And then there's the word filmmaker. It's like an umbrella underneath that,
Yeah.
And not everybody holds a camera. You got a guy who loves audio. You got a guy who loves to edit. You have a guy who just, let me color that for you. You have that kind of. So there's so many things underneath the word filmmaker that people always only see it as a guy with the camera.
That's right.
Sometimes the director never touches the camera. You have the DP and all that other stuff. So I think that's for me, that's what that brand means, to help your network and for you to support. Like right now we're in Austin, so we support Austin filmmakers.
Yeah.
My friend who wears it in Iowa, he's supporting, where he's from. So it doesn't matter where you're at. When you put it on or whatever, you represent that area.
Yes.
And I hope and I believe that you're going to do the same for others and support and help them, grow, because you never know. I mean, what if yourself or Terrell end up doing something huge later?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I took part of that, but I'm gonna be super proud,
Yeah.
to be like, damn, I remember sitting with knives and. So that's what support local filmmaker. I'm sorry, I'm asthmatic.
You need an asthma pump? I have one.
No, I have my own prescribed thing, and I forgot it, but
Does it got steroids in it? Oh yeah, mine too.
yeah,
I
it's
feel you.
good. I'm sorry, but
No, you're fine,
I feel
man.
it coming up, and I'm trying to suppress it as much as I could.
Get it out. Get it out, man.
But anywho, so yeah, that's what this company that I started. And if you go on the site again, supportlocal.filmmakers.com,
Very slick website.
you can see like the vision statement, and
Yes.
and it's like it's my heart that I'm
I
trying
can
to be totally honest with what
I can tell.
what it is,
Totally.
and it's just apparel and stickers, but for me it means something, it reminds me of the Batman Begins,
Mhm.
that
The symbol.
right?
Of course.
It's a symbol. It means something. So that's what it is, and I'm very passionate about that. I put a lot of thought into it and what it means for me, and I hope it means the same for others. There's a few YouTubers that I do want to actually I'm not going to reach out. I'm just going to email them, send them stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be, I hope you wear it on your show. No.
There's a guy here from Austin. I just found out he's an Austin guy, and he's a wedding videographer. Who is Matt Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's his name. He's huge. He's got like 500,000 subs on YouTube, and he's an Austin guy too. So you should link up for sure. There's another guy. I think he has tremendous influence. I bought 2 lenses from him before I even knew who he was. His name's Adam Grumbo. Certainly you've heard of him. He's also a wedding videographer here. These are guys that have found. I mean, wedding videography is really just another genre of filmmaking,
Mm-hmm.
right? And just like how vlogs are like this new age genre as well. And so linking up with those guys, I think, would be really neat. I will say, as someone who has worn apparel from other brands with other identities and other missions, I wear this hat not just because it looks great, but because it's me. It's I feel like myself. It's like the Superman S. Like this is my symbol.
Mm-hmm.
As a filmmaker, it's like it's simultaneously like my symbol, but it's also like a beacon, like the bat symbol for other filmmakers that are out there.
That's cool.
To put it out there to attract people like moths to a flame. And so that's why I like that. But there's tons of great talent here in Austin. Have you ever thought about doing a film festival? Think about this. So imagine you get a couple of sponsors together, road, people like that. And so you have a first place, second place, third place of like maybe the first place winner gets a donated, we can all write this off tax-wise, Panasonic GH5 or GH4 or something. And so there's incentives, and people say you rent out a venue and it's $300 to rent out or something. And so it pays for itself, and you do it maybe twice a year, and it's the Support Your Local Filmmakers Film Festival. And you can take
sounds cool.
International submissions or national submissions or just Austin, local, whatever. Or maybe you take it around. You can do one in Austin, do one in Dallas, do one in Corpus, San Antonio. Texas is so big, it's like 5 European countries. But depending on, it would be a great brand awareness thing, but it also supports the cause, and it'd be a great networking event too. And I think we need more of those down here. Like I've been here on again, off again for 6 years or so, or gosh, longer, since 2012. On again, off again, and I almost don't know. Like everybody's so spread out. There's not one localized. Where I came from, my hometown, it was like a melting pot of you knew all the filmmakers, because it was so small. Here, everybody's so spread out. Like you said, Leander, there's Pflugerville, there's Round Rock, there's Cedar Park, there's Austin proper, there's Buda, San Marcos, New Braunfels. Like there's Wimberley. Like there's so many different places and filmmakers that like it's kind of hard for everybody to get on the same page. This is kind of a sidebar, but when I first got here, I did a casting call, and you see the way you're supposed to do it. Like I'm using this, I do that here at this time. It's very like not personal, but I made like a 5-minute video with subtitles, and I put it on Austin Filmmakers group page on Facebook, and I got banned because of that. like it wasn't the way you were supposed to do it, I guess. And I remember just thinking like, okay, fuckers, I see how it is. Like, you know, I did it to myself, I guess, but you know, I'm always trying to find new ways to connect with people, you know. And like I mentioned earlier, maybe it was off mic, about like this social anxiety of like, it's hard for me to go out to mixers, especially I don't drink, you know, really, and it's hard for me to like, it's almost corny, you know, not that I think I'm better than it, but like to meet with people, it's very like it's very like speed dating, sort of like, I'm not, this is corny to me, I can't do it. But it's way like the way I've always met filmmakers is through the podcast is like a gateway, but it's also like, hey, do you need an extra hand in your short film? You go, maybe you film behind the scenes, maybe you carry a reflector or something, and before you know it, you've shook hands with everybody, and so you walk away with some contacts, and it keeps going. Like that's like the best way to network. But doing a support your local filmmakers film festival might be easier than you think. And as soon as you got one, you got all the data you've collected of what you would do different next time. And, you know, I would do this. This is like I throw this into every idea I have. But if you do a support your local filmmakers film festival and say it's local here in Austin, make a movie about that. Film a behind the scenes documentary about from the inceptions to the meetings to the whatever, to the completion, to the award ceremony night or whatever you want it to be, and use that as your promotional material for the second one, you know, and so on, and capture that process. And not only is it great material to look back on and say, wow, this is dope, but it's also promotional material to promote it for the next time. And maybe you can get more people donate stuff, you know? I mean, shit, like SD cards, UV filters, umbrella, you know, stands, Pelican cases, like stuff. I mean, hey, this is not nothing to sleep on. Like, this is really cool. And if people wanted, you know, you get Canon to sponsor and shit like that, it starts getting really interesting, you know, and it can pay for itself. So something to think about in the future, you know. Also hand out some hats over there, bumper stickers. I mean, it's an idea that's firing me up. And support your local filmmakers. When I saw that website, I was just like, here's a guy who is taking this ball and running with it. And I mean, it's a touchdown, man. So you have to keep doing it for sure.
Yeah, thanks. We do plan on doing little things here and there, like, for example, every so often have a giveaway of sorts. And, you know, for no reason, just to give it away. Yeah. Right. And it'll be like a contest, I guess. Yeah. Whatever they do, whoever does likes or whatever, you know, sure. That kind of thing. Another thing that I'd like to get into is make flyers so that I can take them to community colleges. Yeah. And see if they let me, you know. Of course. And do something like that, just get it out like that. But I like the whole film festival thing. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I love this idea of like, I've tried to do it so many times. I've just really suck at it. Somebody gave me this advice the other day of like, once you achieve like a certain amount of, I don't want to call it fame, but like clout or something, then everybody wants to work with you. So in a weird way, I'm trying to reverse engineer that and get my name out there where it's big enough where people will come up to me and then all of a sudden like they'll listen to me. But right now, nobody wants to listen to me.
Well, look, let me tell you this. And
see, what I was going to say is I've always liked this idea of like filmmakers assemble, like the X-Men get together of filmmakers or the Avengers of filmmakers get together, because when you bring a bunch of incredibly talented, hardworking people together in a room, sparks fucking fly. And that shit is why I'm in this. I'm not in it for the fame, for the money, for the glory, for the victories. Like, I'm in it for can we get a bunch of brilliant minds in a room and like do some cool things that we can rant about later and in a cheerful way and say, man, that was fun. Like, that's why I'm in this. I don't care about anything else.
Right.
Just to qualify that.
No, I know. I know why you're in it.
Yeah.
What do you think of, or what are your thoughts on this? For example, like, I never wanted to show my mug, ever, on anything. My name, and I made this, and that's it. For support local filmmakers, I didn't want people to know who I am or what I do. You know, that's just how I work. You know. But I've been told differently. No, you need to get out there, you know.
Yeah.
I want to. That's fine, but I don't want it to feel or seem like it's about me
I get that.
trying to make a buck.
Uh-huh.
You know, I don't want it because it's not about that.
Yeah.
So what do you think? I'm asking for advice, I guess.
I get that. So that's where you have to be creative, I think. So me and my wife have a company called Indie Darlings. And the whole idea of it, what I want it to be is, and I've never said this publicly because I'm still developing it, even though we started this company a year ago. And, you know, it's tax season. So we're like, oh, we're looking at what we did and our progress and all that. And so we've pivoted like the mission statement a few times. And now where I think I'm comfortable with it and where it clicks and it feels right is like, to me, I want it to be like an indie label, like for creatives, a label in the music sense of like, if a band back in the day, now anybody can just make music willy-nilly, but back in the day, you'd want to get signed to a label. You want to get signed to Def Jam or Interscope or whatever. I'm old, so those are the only ones I know. And under that umbrella, like you'd have this label, and you know, it's kind of like the X-Men once again. And so that's what I wanted to turn into, is eventually like if I see an artist that I like, support this person, and I can create like this packet for them where it's like, if you want a podcast, if you need studio time, if whatever you need, I want to be able to explode you, because I believe artists are like as powerful as CEOs. Like artists, whether if you're a wedding videographer, a photographer, a painter, a musician, a SoundCloud rapper, I don't care. Like whatever you are, you kind of need to be, I don't want to manage you per se, but, and this goes back to your question, because I've wrestled with this exact same thing. But I do want to, I believe like if you buy stock in an artist and they explode, I mean, that's a good investment, right? So like I've been looking at it like that. I eventually want to grow my business into sort of like a label, but not just for music, for everything. I mean, maybe even not music, but there's certain, like I have a really good barometer of like, I know when someone can explode if they have the ability to reach a critical mass and cash out, right? Because if you invest in a, gosh, like who was like the most recent filmmaker that came out of nowhere, in your opinion?
The guy who did Shazam.
I don't know that person.
What's his name? Sorry, no disrespect to that guy. Pony Smasher is his
Really?
his Twitter name, I think.
Is this a young kid? Like, is he young?
No, maybe
He's been around for a minute?
Maybe he's your age.
Okay. Then he's young. Just kidding. But like being able to find someone before they even have that at bat, that opportunity, and invest in them and like be the jersey, so to speak, and like push them and connect them with like opportunities and all that. Like I love that when they start at the ground, and then when they explode, cool. I don't need anything from them per se, but like I really love that. And maybe that means creating a website for them. Maybe that means taking social media photos and writing blogs and whatever, like expanding their brand, right? Because I believe in artists are CEOs essentially, like, and they should have employees and stuff like that. So Indie Darlings to me is like, yeah, but I don't want it to be the Knives Monroe show. People are going to get that twisted. So it's strange because I'm a director. Like I want to be behind the scenes. I never intended to be in front of the camera. Like that was never part of the idea. It just happened that way, and I think it's a product of the time. If I was growing up in the 70s or 80s, I don't think it would be the Knives Monroe show. But because we're in this Instagram, Twitter world,
Yeah.
you know, I've almost been forced or coerced into being a YouTube presence or whatever. And so that's why I got my own podcast and all that. But Indie Darlings for me is like, I'm okay with people knowing that I'm attached to it, but it ain't the Knives Monroe show. So I have a separate YouTube account for Indie Darlings, and I only want it to be like artist profiles for other people. Mm-hmm. I almost like, I have to, this is where how I started this, like you have to be creative. Like, so then it's like, you know, the short films or short documentaries or whatever profiles that I do for other artists like you, what you're doing with support your local filmmakers. It's like, I don't want people to know that I'm behind that. It doesn't matter. So whoever makes these films, there are no directed by Knives. It's not that.
Right. Yeah.
It's not that. I want it to be its own thing. And that's something else. I don't have all my eggs in that basket. I'm still Knives Monroe doing a podcast and still doing other things. But, so I kind of feel like, don't give in to the pressure of you have to be the face of it. Like, no, you just have to come up with creative ways where it is its own entity. Like Nike, I forget the guy who is the CEO of Nike right now. I forgot his name. But they have all the athletes sport Nike or Adidas or something. Like, that's the way to do it. So I think you're on the right track of like getting other filmmakers to wear the jersey for you. You know, you want it to be its own entity in that where it exists on its own. I think, you know, the good news is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like, I think doing like a film festival and doing like these social network events, it doesn't even have to be a festival. Like, you can rent out a bar for 3 hours and like host, support your local filmmakers, the networking reception, you know what I mean? Or whatever, you know, create a web series that's every Monday at 8 p.m. Like, it's support your local filmmakers, the show, like where it's not you in front of the show. It's whatever you want it to be. It can be claymation or whatever, like whatever you want it to be. So, I mean, just keep, I'd say like, it's not going to hurt the brand that you're the guy. I mean, at the end of the day, people do care about Leonardo da Vinci. They like his work. They don't need to know what Leonardo da Vinci looks like, but some people can trace the dots, connect the dots, and say that's who it is, and that's cool too. But I don't want to tell you how to run your show, but like with my business, it is a business. Like, I wanted to make more money than it costs. I have an overhead, you know, so certainly the cost of goods that you invest in your apparel is not free, right? So you want to at least break even or whatever. So don't feel, and I think this is a Hispanic thing, and I'm also Hispanic. Like, I think it's like a Hispanic thing to feel guilty about asking for a sale or asking for a shout out or something like that, or basically doing the business part. But shit, man, people buy empanadas, right? I mean, like, people will like to buy the conchas. People like it. So be proud of that and own that, and find creative ways where it can support itself, like its own self-reliant bipedal organism. Like, you want it to. And it takes time, and it takes people, you know. Building relationships is how you're going to do that. That's more powerful than currency. I think you know that.
That's why I like doing these little videos, especially the one like the one that you sent and Terrell sent, and I think we have like 4 of them, because it's yes, it's on our webpage, but it's them, you know.
Yes,
it's you, and it's who you are, and you know, and I that's how I want to keep it,
for sure,
you know, like that. But I like what you said. I mean, I guess you do have to maybe sometimes go out there, or you know, and I think it is a Hispanic thing.
It is. I read this book, and I've quoted it so many times. There's a book written by Juan Ochoa entitled Marihuano, and I have it on my bookshelf in my bedroom. And one of the lines in the book is, one of the worst things that you can do to another Mexican is be successful. And it's kind of like funny, but it's also like low-key true.
Right.
You know, like my family, some of them, not all of them, some of them are like, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Some of them are like, who the fuck does this guy think he is?
No.
You know,
yeah,
and it's like, hey man,
right
I'm trying to eat. My kids got to eat, and like I just want to do it on my own terms. You know,
Yeah.
I don't have to work for a corporation to do that. Like I want to fill this bucket up, so my kids don't have to call another person daddy. That way, my kids they can be their own boss, and this could be something if they wanted to walk into. You know, like, you know, I always tell Claire, like, this might be the worst thing I say on the show, so forgive me. But we talk about like investing in stocks and like investing in Apple stock and Facebook stock, Google and stuff like that, and actually saving our money and you know, diversification and like, you know, putting money in helping it work for you. And I tell her, this is how white people win. All right. This is how white people fucking get to create old money, you know, like in Hispanics, like I'm a 3rd generation American, and I didn't have a nest egg to start on 3rd, you know, but the way I see it is I was like one of the first of my, I was the first of my generation to grow up with like central air. So it's like, I in a way, like I did start on third base, you know? So, and my kids are even more spoiled than I was, you know? So at the same time, like, yeah, there's this weird sort of, we don't have it in our, like, I don't want to say ancestry, but like we don't have it generationally to pass down this information, you know? So we have to get it from one another. And I really believe in, and it's part of why I do this podcast of like, is collecting the best information that I know works and giving it away for free. I mean, this is exactly what you did with those digital assets that you gave me 3 years ago. So that's what we're doing right here. And I think if you continue to do that and make it really about the mission, people will support that forever.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so, because I you just never know. You just never know who you help and what happens, you know. And like I said before, I mean, I want to see what you do, you know, or the next guy. I want to see what he does, you know. He's great already, you know. One of the things that I forgot who I told, but they were like, well, why do you want to give away free stuff, you know? It's not free stuff. It's free tools.
That's right.
It's free tools that I think that might be an asset for this person, you know?
Yes.
That's how I see it. I want to go back to a little bit of the Hispanic talk. Have you heard the Rodriguez interview where he went to UT and he spoke? This was when he was promoting the El Rey Network.
I may have, yeah.
And he said something.
Oh yeah, he's like in a like a classroom.
Like a classroom.
Yeah.
And he said something that I think was like spot on, man. He said, you know, where are the Hispanic filmmakers? Where's all this Hispanic talent, you know? And like nobody had an answer, you know. And he said, you know, I showed you guys, you know, I made a mariachi and I showed you guys how I made it. And the next year there should have been a ton of you guys, you know. Where were you guys, you know? And then he went through the list of people were giving him, oh, they don't have Ghana, they don't have this, they don't do, you know. But then the truth is that, and I don't think this was like a cop out or an excuse, but I think it's true that we don't know where to go, you know. As a culture, we're just the way you said it, you know. Some people are like, you know, good for you, son, and people are like, yeah, who do you think you are, you know? Or have you had somebody say this? Hey, what do you do? I'm a filmmaker. Oh, you do that? What does that even mean?
When I was growing up, and I'm sure it was even worse for you, would you know how hard it is to make it?
Yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, it's going to be hard, but everything's hard.
Yeah.
Everything that's great and worth doing is hard.
So it's like shooting you down before you even try to take off a little bit.
Oh yeah. You know, real quick on that note, and it's not just a Hispanic thing, but for anybody out there who can relate to this, you want to attract this filmmaker that I heard. One of my filmmaker friends who was the first guest on this podcast, Dave Knopp, who has his own YouTube channel.
Oh, Knopp Top.
Knopp Top.
Yeah.
Oh, it's you know.
Yeah.
There you go, Dave. Like, you know, this guy, we're fans. He had told me that Peter McKinnon, another filmmaker on YouTube, said that you want to surround yourself around people that say, "Good for you," not, "Wouldn't that be nice?" or something like that. You know, like there's a big difference between, you know, good for you, like that's great, like you got to win, if you're winning I'm winning, versus like, oh, you know, like wouldn't that be nice? It's kind of like a neg, right? So when I say 50-50, like my family, it's probably more than that, but a lot of the dinosaurs are dying off, you know, so I don't get it as much anymore, and I think I've proven myself to them or whatever. But growing up, it was just very like, that local, you know. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not trying to impress you by things that I say, but that's why I reach out to people like you. Yeah. That's why, like you mentioned, Chris Sanchez.
That's right.
That's why she's my friend. You know, when I first met her, we met at eBay, and she said something very small about filmmaking. Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Let me go talk to her." You know, and I approached her, and I remember her telling me that she really appreciated me coming up to her, and saying, "Hey, I'm a filmmaker too," because she's been wanting to meet and network and stuff like that. Yeah. And now you see her and you see how much she's grown and all the amazing stuff she's done.
She's so cool.
You know, and it's, you have to stick with people like that. You know,
yes, I agree.
And because I think somebody like you, somebody like her, somebody like Terrell, makes me want to be better. Not than you guys, but just me better in what I do in my craft, in whatever aspect of of filmmaking that I'm gonna.
I agree.
I'm gonna do.
Could you imagine if me, you, and Chris got together in the same room?
That'd be pretty nuts.
Sparks would fly. Like, I truly, solely believe in that. Like,
I think I'd be quiet
anything.
and just hear you guys. I'd just be like watching you guys.
I would want to be the quiet one taking notes down for sure. But you're a very selfless filmmaker, very selfless Christian person. And like, my rebuttal to what Robert Rodriguez said in that UT room about basically like, you know, like, where's my gente, right? Mm-hmm. Is I think it's a self-esteem thing. It's I don't know if I have the confidence to believe in myself, to even invest in myself. I think it starts with that. And what you're doing, Carlos, is really, you know, when you came at me with those digital assets, it was at a very hard, dark, grinding time. And, you know, we were talking about throwing bones and whatnot. Like, for me, it felt like, oh, maybe I'm doing something right. You know, and that goes a long way. And nobody wants to give anybody nothing, like in this business or in this life. Nobody wants to say, amen, brother. Like, nobody even wants to do that. It's just like, what have you done for me lately type of thing. And so it made me feel like, oh, I'm doing something right. Something's got to be making sense. If I made a big enough wave for someone to even notice me, like, that's got to mean something. So, I mean, you're doing that, and that's just one person's story. Like, you're going to impact hundreds, thousands, several. So please just keep doing what you're doing. Where can people find you on the internet, and how can they support your local filmmakers?
Well, before I answer that, let me just say this, that I have reached out to a lot of other people, and they don't reach back. So you snooze, you lose.
There you go. That's their loss.
Supportyourlocalfilmmakers.com. That's the website. And on the website, it has all the little links to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The YouTube one takes you right to the interviews. And there's also a separate, within the website, there's the interviews that you can watch, which we call our featured creators.
I love it.
We had a goal to do one a month, but the holiday season,
of course,
kind of, a little bit
Tell me about
distraction and stuff. But it's been cool. Chris was supposed to be my December, and they just timing and stuff. Of
course, yeah.
And I actually do have an actor friend of mine that his video is done, but he was supposed to be January. It's just it's been weird. It derailed a little bit.
Of course.
So supportlocalfilmmakers.com. You can go on there, for hats, shirts, apparel, and stuff. And like I said, it's networking apparel, and people will like it. People will see it, and they're gonna question you. They will question you.
It's already happened.
Yeah. And I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Facebook under L Carlos Diaz, as in the Carlos Diaz, and that's like a family inside joke as to that name. But there's a bunch of Carlos Diaz on Facebook, so when I chose that, I'm like, okay, well, I'm this guy, I'm the Carlos Diaz. That's smart. Then the same thing on YouTube. I think it's the same. And you can see some of my work on there. It's nothing spectacular, but my work is there. And I do want to say one thing that you don't know about. I think you would get a kick out of this.
Ooh.
So there's a network called Iron Dragon TV, and they have a show. They have films on there, a lot of kung fu films, a lot of action stuff. And their first show that they're producing is called Joaquin, and it's basically
Joaquin, not walking.
No, Joaquin, like Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah. And it's like the easiest way to describe it. It's like Constantine.
Ooh.
If Constantine was Hispanic. Okay. So it's very Latin influenced. Okay?
I like it.
So they have episode 1, 2, and 3, and the actor who plays Joaquin, his name is Stefan Molina, who's the guy on our next featured creator. We talked a little bit, and he says that they wanted to, I guess they needed to go a different route, or something. I make a long story short, I'll be directing.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'll be directing that and shooting it.
Wow. How long are these episodes?
At first, I believe they wanted to go a full 22 minutes.
Yeah. But so it's got act breaks and everything.
Yeah, but now they're not, which is cool because we have a concept of no shorter than 12.
Wow, this is so cool,
No longer than 22.
dude.
So that each episode is going to be like that. So
I like that.
we have.
If you need a 5-minute episode, let me know.
No, trust me.
If you ever want to change it up,
I have people in mind, and you're one of them. When the time comes.
sure.
But
that is so cool, man.
I'm excited. I've turned in 2 episodes that I wrote. I'm just because there's so much, especially in the Hispanic culture, when it comes to.
Dude, all we have is like machete. I love Danny Trejo. I can't get enough of Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
But like, when I walked out of Black Panther, I was like, that's cool. But like, where's my fucking Mexican superhero, man? Where is he?
Yeah.
Or she, I saw Super One on Netflix. It's kind of a joke, but it was kind of okay. Like, I liked it. So
what's her name said one time, Michelle Rodriguez, she doesn't like the idea of.
I love Michelle Rodriguez.
I don't know. They approached her to be something in Marvel or something. And she didn't want to because she said, which is really cool. She said, no, that character's not Hispanic. If you want a Hispanic character, then create one.
I love her.
Yeah.
I love her character. What is it? She?
Yeah.
In Machete?
Yeah.
I wanted so much more. Like, I love all that.
Yeah.
Rodriguez tying this full circle is like really good at kind of representation in that way, and like making you feel like this is even though Johnny Depp's not Hispanic, but like I loved his whole concept in Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Yeah.
You know
what that was awesome was Willem Dafoe. He was played a Mexican drug lord.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Cool, yeah.
That is cool. I'm fine with that. Just for people being like cultural representation, whatever. But no, I thought that was cool. And man, this Joaquin idea is like, we got to have an off mic like meeting about that, just because I have this dream project that is centered around Hispanic leads, and it's like my Watchmen, and I would love to. I'll never be able to produce it. Like, I've almost given up on it. It's 15 years old at this point, but I remember after watching, I've never said this on mic before, after watching Once Upon a Time in Mexico and Kill Bill and like Sin City all back to back. Like, I was 16 years old. This is the year, the summer I became a filmmaker was that. And I just wrote like 600 pages of like a story. I didn't even know what screenwriting was. I didn't know how you made a movie yet. Didn't know shit. And I've since adapted it so many times. And the lead character is Mercedes Moreno, and I've just like always dreamed of like, but it's almost like, where do you go? Like El Rey maybe, or like, where do you go to even produce this or pitch this? But that's a dream project that like I don't even like to think about because it makes me so sad, because my whole life can turn into just that. And it has been that, and a decade will go by, and then you're not making anything, So you really have to kind of kill your darlings and move on to other things. But in terms of if you ever want to world build, like, man, it's not often that I say I got ideas fucking coming out like a fire hose.
Yeah.
But when it comes to that space, I fucking do. So that's a conversation for another time. But I'm glad you mentioned that, man. And where can people watch that? Is it a YouTube network, or is it
it's an app. You can actually download the app. It's on Android and Apple. And
so you could probably find it on Roku or something.
Yeah, it's on Roku. It's on Apple TV, I think.
Yeah.
It's Iron Dragon TV. It looks like the Mortal Kombat dragon. It looks similar to that.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's, like I said, a bunch of stuff you can watch on there. But I think Joaquin is the first actual show produced by the network.
Oh, sweet.
So that's pretty cool.
That is awesome, man. Well, congratulations on that. That's
Thanks.
a big deal.
Thank
I
you.
look forward to that. So I'm
Me
going to have
too.
to catch up.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm going to fanboy when your episodes come out.
Oh, thanks, man.
Thank you so much for doing this show, man. We got to do it again.
Yeah, thanks. This is a lot of fun.
I hope you felt okay about it, and I love you so much, man.
Thank you. I love you too, man. Next time I'll bring my inhaler.
I got mine. If you
I'm actually embarrassed, man.
I got mine. I feel you, dude. I'm allergic to dogs. I got a dog, and so when I lie down on the couch, I get wheezy and shit, and so I feel you, man.
It's terrible.
I'm all about that life. Catch you next time, man.
Thanks, man.